First Contact and Deception. Admiral Sarah Chen stood at the viewport of the Terran Defense Station Aegis, her weathered face reflecting off the reinforced glass as she watched the first Kraxan ships emerge from hyperspace. They appeared like massive obsidian arrowheads against the star-studded void, their hull plating absorbing rather than reflecting light, a sight that would have terrified a lesser species. Counting 37 capital ships, Admiral Lieutenant Rodriguez reported from his station. Their energy signatures are astronomical. Each vessel appears to be capable of destroying a small moon. Chen allowed herself a small smile. And how are they reacting to our defensive screen? As expected, ma'am. Their communications are lighting up with what we can only interpret as amusement. They're sharing visual data of our ships among their fleet. The defensive screen in question consisted of what appeared to be retrofitted cargo haulers and mining vessels, hastily armed with point defense turrets and painted in Earth Defense Force colors. To the Kraxans, it must have looked like humanity had simply welded guns onto whatever spacecraft they could find. A desperate last stand by a primitive species. Signal from the Kraxan flagship. Admiral, Communications Officer Park announced. They're demanding our immediate surrender. Their supreme commander is laughing. Chen nodded, maintaining her composure. Put them on screen. The holographic display materialized, revealing Supreme Commander Vexthor of the Kraxan Empire. His crystalline exoskeleton glinted with embedded rank markers, and his 4 eyes regarded Chen with obvious disdain. Human. Vexthor's translator rendered his clicks and whistles into English. Your species' reputation for cunning seems greatly exaggerated. We expected orbital defense platforms, energy shields, perhaps even some primitive form of mass driver. Instead, you greet us with, he gestured dismissively, cargo ships. Supreme Commander, Chen replied, her voice steady. We use what we have. Surely you don't expect us to reveal all our capabilities at once. This earned another round of clicking laughter from Vexthor's bridge crew. Capabilities. Our sensors detect no energy weapons, no shield generators. Your vessels don't even have proper armor plating. The Kraxan Empire has conquered 1,000 worlds, human. We know the difference between a real fleet and this performance. Then you'll have no objection to accepting our surrender in person. Chen suggested. Our station's docking bay can accommodate your shuttle. We are, after all, a primitive species. What harm could we possibly pose? Vexthor's upper eyes narrowed while his lower pair continued scanning tactical displays. You invite me aboard. Either you are very brave or very foolish. Very well. I will grant you the honor of surrendering your world to me personally. As the transmission ended, Rodriguez turned to Chen. Admiral, is it wise to let him aboard? If they scan too deeply. They won't, Chen interrupted. Their arrogance is matched only by their trust in their technology. They believe their sensors are infallible. And right now those sensors are telling them exactly what we want them to see. Deep within the station's quantum-shielded core, banks of computers processed real-time data from thousands of microscopic sensors scattered throughout the solar system. Holographic projectors, reverse-engineered from a crashed alien scout ship decades ago, maintained the illusion of a primitive defense force. And in the void between worlds, humanity's true fleet lay waiting in quantum superposition, neither fully here nor there, invisible to even the most advanced Kraxan scanners. Status of Project Chimera, Chen asked quietly. All systems nominal, Admiral, her AI assistant replied through her neural implant. Quantum entanglement drives are synchronized across all vessels. The fleet can transition from superposition to real space in 2.3 seconds. Chen watched as Vexthor's shuttle departed his flagship, escorted by fighters that could each outgun Earth's largest visible ships. The Kraxan Supreme Commander was about to learn that humanity's greatest weapon had always been its ability to appear weak when it was strong. Begin deployment of Phase 2, she ordered. Let's give our guests a proper welcome. Throughout the solar system, Hidden quantum transmitters began their carefully choreographed dance, weaving an invisible web of entangled particles around the Kraxan fleet. They wouldn't realize it until it was too late, but with each passing moment, they were being enclosed in humanity's most sophisticated trap, one that defied their understanding of physics itself. The game was about to begin, and humanity was playing for keeps. The art of misdirection. Supreme Commander Vex Thor's shuttle glided through the magnetic containment field of Aegis Station's docking bay. His security details scans showed primitive electromagnetic shielding, outdated fusion reactors, and hull plating that wouldn't withstand a direct hit from even their smallest weapons. Everything confirmed what their initial scans had indicated. Humans were centuries behind Kraxan technology. Fascinating, he muttered, watching through the shuttle's viewport as maintenance crews in bulky environmental suits scrambled to clear the bay. They still require physical protection from vacuum. Their environmental systems must be as primitive as their weapons. The truth, hidden beneath quantum camouflage, was quite different. The maintenance crews were actually advanced biomechanical androids, their seemingly clumsy movements masking precision sensors that mapped every molecule of the Kraxan shuttle. The bulky suits contained enough computational power to run a small city, each one linked to the station's quantum mainframe through untraceable subspace channels. Admiral Chen waited at the airlock, flanked by an honor guard of what appeared to be regular Marines in outdated combat armor. Supreme Commander, welcome to Aegis Station. I trust your journey was comfortable. Vex Thor's crystalline face caught the light as he emerged, towering over the human delegation. His guard detail spread out, weapons held casually but ready. Their neural interfaces were already attempting to slice into what they assumed would be primitive computer systems. Your hospitality is noted, Admiral, Vex Thor replied, his translator creating perfect English. Though I must admit, I expected more resistance from a species rumored to have defeated the Centauri Collective. Chen led the delegation toward what appeared to be a simple conference room. Rumors tend to grow in the telling, Supreme Commander. We're simple people, trying to protect our home with what we have. The Kraxan leader's secondary eyes tracked movement in the corridors, civilians hurrying away, looking frightened, maintenance crews working on exposed wiring. Everything screamed of a society barely holding together in the face of superior forces. His confidence grew with each step. In the quantum realm, invisible to Kraxan sensors, reality told a different story. Each civilian was transmitting terabytes of data about Kraxan physiology, technology, and behavior patterns. The exposed wiring contained quantum entanglement nodes that were slowly synchronizing with the crystals in the Kraxan's exoskeletons, preparing for what was to come. Your honesty is refreshing, Admiral, Vex Thor said as they entered the conference room. Most species try to bluff until the end. You seem to understand your position. Chen gestured to a chair specially designed to accommodate Kraxan physiology, another sign of humanity's apparent submission. We understand many things, Supreme Commander. Would you care for refreshments? We've analyzed your biological requirements. Vex Thor's guard captain stepped forward, scanning the offered beverages. Clear of toxins, Commander. Though their scanning technology is amusingly basic. Tell me, Admiral, Vex Thor said, settling into the chair, the debris field we detected around your fourth planet. That was from your attempt to build actual warships, yes? Before you resorted to arming cargo vessels. Chen's expression remained neutral. You seem very interested in our failures, Supreme Commander. Know your enemy, Admiral. Though in this case, he gestured to a window showing Earth's defensive fleet. There seems little to know. Throughout the station, quantum computers monitored every fluctuation in Kraxan technology. Their attempts to hack the station's systems were being allowed to succeed, each breakthrough feeding them carefully crafted disinformation. Every moment they spent growing more confident was another moment for humanity's true defenses to align. Perhaps, Chen replied, we should discuss terms of surrender. Your fleet is impressive, and we have families to protect. Vex Thor leaned forward, his crystalline features catching the light. Yes, let's discuss terms, starting with the immediate handover of all your technological data, primitive though it may be. We find it useful to understand how lesser species think. In the quantum substrate beneath normal space, humanity's real fleet commanders received their final positioning data. The trap was almost ready. Every patronizing word from the Kraxan commander's translator was another piece of linguistic data fed into weapons systems that would soon demonstrate just how well humanity understood how lesser species think. Of course, Chen smiled, triggering a subtle quantum shift that would begin the next phase. We're an open book, Supreme Commander. Everything we are is right here for you to see. The irony of her words was lost on Vexthor, who saw only what he expected to see, a primitive species accepting its inevitable conquest. Had his species not been so certain of their superiority, they might have asked themselves why humanity's surrender seemed too easy, too perfect. But the Kraxans had conquered 1,000 worlds, and pride had long since overcome caution. They were about to learn that sometimes the most dangerous predator is the one that looks like prey. Breaking point. Vexthor's fourth eye caught a subtle flicker in the conference room's lighting, a microsecond fluctuation that his superior Kraxan senses detected but dismissed as further evidence of human technological inadequacy. He didn't realize it was the first visible sign of humanity's quantum web activating. "Your terms are acceptable," Admiral Chen said, sliding a primitive-looking data tablet across the table. "Earth's complete technological database, including our failed attempts at developing proper warships. Consider it a gesture of good faith." The Kraxan commander's guard captain interfaced with the tablet, his crystalline neural tendrils extending to access the data. His mandibles clicked in amusement. "Commander, their most advanced weapons are chemical propellant-based. Their ships use nuclear fission for power. They haven't even mastered basic gravitic technology." But aboard the Kraxan flagship, something was changing. Deep in the quantum substrate of reality, the particles making up their crystalline computing cores were becoming entangled with human quantum systems. Their superior technology was being turned into a vast antenna array, broadcasting directly to Earth's hidden fleet. "Signal from the fleet, Commander," the guard captain suddenly announced. "They're detecting unusual energy readings from the system's Oort cloud." Vexthor's posture shifted slightly. "Explain." "Unknown, sir. Our sensors are having difficulty maintaining quantum coherence when scanning that region." The guard captain's confusion was evident in his clicking speech. "It's as if space itself is becoming uncertain." Chen watched the exchange with practiced calm, though her neural implant was feeding her real-time updates from Project Chimera. The quantum entanglement was reaching critical mass. Soon, the Kraxans would learn why humanity had spent decades appearing weak while secretly mastering the fundamental forces of reality itself. "Is something wrong, Supreme Commander?" she asked innocently. Vexthor's upper eyes narrowed. "Your concern is noted, Admiral. Though I find it interesting that you don't seem worried about these anomalous readings. Should I be? We barely understand your basic scanning technology, let alone quantum sensors." The lie was perfect, delivered with just the right mix of humility and ignorance. But it came 3 seconds too late. In those 3 seconds, Vexthor's tactical mind made connections his pride had been suppressing. "Lock down all communication channels," he ordered suddenly. "Something is." The command came too late. Throughout the Kraxan fleet, quantum-entangled particles that had been carefully synchronized with human systems began to affect their crystalline technology. Ships lost contact with each other as their subspace communications were drawn into carefully constructed quantum interference patterns. Multiple failures reported across the fleet, the guard captain announced, his professional calm cracking. "Our quantum cores are experiencing impossible readings. Reality itself seems to be becoming uncertain." Chen finished for him. "Quantum superposition is such a delicate thing, isn't it? Especially when you don't know which reality is real and which is merely probable." Vexthor stood abruptly, his massive frame looming over the conference table. "What have you done?" "We've done exactly what we said we would. Supreme Commander, we showed you everything we are." Chen's smile remained pleasant, but her eyes had turned hard as steel. "The question is, did you actually see it?" The station's lights flickered again, longer this time. But now Vex Thor understood. It wasn't a power failure. Reality itself was fluctuating as quantum fields shifted. Through the conference room's windows, space itself seemed to shiver. Where moments before there had been only Earth's pathetic fleet of converted cargo ships, new shapes were emerging, materializing from what seemed like parallel dimensions. "Impossible," Vex Thor whispered. "You can't have mastered quantum manifestation. The energy requirements alone would be beyond our primitive nuclear technology." Chen finished. "You're absolutely right. That's why we don't use nuclear power, Supreme Commander. We haven't for decades." The guard captain's neural interfaces were flooding him with data from the fleet. Massive ships were appearing in perfect attack positions, vessels that seemed to exist in multiple states simultaneously, immune to targeting systems that relied on quantum probability calculations. "Your ships," Vex Thor realized, his translator struggling to keep up with his rapid clicking. "They were never there at all. They were quantum shadows," Chen confirmed. "Projections of probability. The real fleet has been here the whole time, existing in a state of quantum superposition. Thank you, by the way, for letting us study your crystalline computing technology so thoroughly. Your own sensors made excellent calibration tools." Outside, Earth's true fleet was fully manifesting. Sleek vessels that seemed to flicker in and out of reality, their quantum drives allowing them to exist partially in multiple positions simultaneously. The perfect weapon against an enemy that relied on predictive targeting. Humanity's trap wasn't just closing. It had been closed the entire time, existing in a quantum state of both sprung and unsprung until this very moment of observation. "The universe," Chen said softly, "is not divided into predators and prey, Supreme Commander. It's divided into those who see reality as it is, and those who see only what they expect to see." The quantum web was complete. Now it was time to show the Kraxan Empire exactly what humanity had been hiding behind its mask of weakness. Counterstrike. As quantum uncertainty resolved into devastating reality, the true might of Earth's fleet emerged like ghostly leviathans materializing from parallel dimensions. Their hulls rippled with patterns that hurt the eye to follow. Vessels that existed partially in multiple states of reality, making them nearly impossible to target effectively. "All ships, execute pattern Schrödinger." Admiral Chen's orders echoed through quantum-entangled communications. "Show them what humanity's been working on for the last 50 years. Vex Thor watched in horror as his mighty fleet's targeting systems failed spectacularly. Kraxan weapons, designed to calculate precise quantum trajectories, couldn't lock onto ships that existed in multiple probable locations simultaneously. Each shot passed through empty space, hitting quantum shadows while the real vessels struck from impossible angles. "Your entire defense strategy," he hissed, mandibles clicking rapidly. "It was all based on studying our attack patterns from previous conquests." "We've had decades to prepare," Chen confirmed. "Every species you conquered sent out warnings. Every battle was documented. We learned how you think, how you fight, and most importantly, what you expect to see." The space around Earth's orbit had become a chaos of quantum probability storms. Human ships phased between positions faster than light itself could resolve their location, their weapons striking from multiple vectors simultaneously. Each shot existed in a superposition of trajectories until the moment of impact, making traditional shields worse than useless. "Admiral." Lieutenant Rodriguez's voice came through Chen's neural link. "The Kraxan fleet is attempting to reform into defensive formations." "As predicted," Chen replied. "Execute Phase 4. The quantum web that had been slowly entangling the Kraxan's crystalline computing cores reached full activation. Their own technology, based on quantum principles, became a weakness as human systems began forcing quantum decoherence across their entire fleet. Vexthor felt it through his neural interface, the crystalline certainty of Kraxen's superiority shattering into quantum chaos. What have you done to our systems? Forced observation at the quantum level, Chen explained, almost sympathetically. Your technology relies on maintaining quantum coherence. We're simply looking at it too closely. Outside, the battle had become a symphony of impossible physics. Human ships, their quantum drives fully engaged, existed in multiple attack vectors until the moment they struck. Kraxen vessels, their quantum cores compromised, found their advanced technology reverting to classical physics, becoming solid, predictable, vulnerable. The debris field around Mars, Vexthor realized suddenly. Those weren't failed warships. They were quantum entanglement nodes. Chen nodded. We've been building this web for years, Supreme Commander. Every piece of primitive technology you scanned was another strand. The first Kraxen capital ship died spectacularly, its quantum core forced into decoherence by the surrounding web. The crystalline vessel shattered into conventional matter, its sophisticated systems reduced to simple atoms by the collapse of quantum probability. Fleet status, Vexthor demanded of his guard captain. 30% of vessels non-responsive, came the clicking reply. The humans are. They're everywhere and nowhere. Weapons pass through them, but theirs strike with perfect accuracy. It's like fighting ghosts that can hurt us. A massive human vessel phased into existence directly alongside the Kraxen flagship, seeming to coalesce from quantum probability itself. Its hull bore the name Heisenberg's Revenge, in simple block letters. An interesting name, Chen remarked, noting Vexthor's gaze. You see, the more precisely you try to measure our position, the less certain you can be of our momentum. And vice versa. We've weaponized uncertainty itself. The battle continued to unfold in impossible ways. Human ships would appear to split into multiple probable versions of themselves, each one as real as the other until the moment of attack. Kraxen targeting systems, designed to predict quantum trajectories, were worse than useless against weapons that existed in superpositions of multiple attack vectors. Signal from the flagship, the guard captain announced, his clicking nearly incoherent with stress. They're requesting surrender protocols. Vexthor's crystalline form seemed to dim slightly. The Kraxen Empire does not surrender. We are the supreme force in the galaxy. We err. Fighting a war you cannot win, Chen interrupted gently, because you're fighting the very principles your technology is based on. Every quantum calculation your ships make simply adds to our entanglement web. The more you resist, the more deeply you become trapped in our quantum maze. Through the windows, the battle was reaching its crescendo. The mighty Kraxen fleet, terror of 1,000 worlds, was being systematically dismantled by ships that seemed to mock physics itself. Each blast from their quantum state weapons existed in multiple trajectories until impact, making dodge attempts futile. Humanity hadn't just prepared for this battle. They had transformed their understanding of reality itself into the ultimate weapon, turning their enemy's technological superiority into a fatal weakness. The age of classical warfare was over. The quantum realm belonged to humanity now. Victory's price. In the debris-strewn space around Earth, reality slowly began to stabilize. The quantum probability storms subsided, leaving behind a graveyard of crystalline ships and shattered certainties. The Kraxen Empire's mighty armada had been reduced to drifting fragments, each piece a testament to the danger of underestimating humanity. Admiral Chen stood in Aegis Station's true command center, now revealed in all its quantum-engineered glory. Holographic displays showed the aftermath of battle in perfect clarity. Human ships phase-shifting back into single states of reality, their quantum drives powering down from the incredible feat they'd just accomplished. Final casualty report, Lieutenant Rodriguez announced, his voice tight with emotion. 3 human vessels lost, 12 damage. Kraxen losses. He paused, double-checking the figures. 35 capital ships destroyed. The remainder disabled or surrendered. Vexthor, now secured in a quantum containment field that kept his crystalline biology stable, watched the displays with all four eyes. "You could have annihilated us completely," he observed, his translator struggling to convey the complex emotions in his clicks. "That was never our goal," Chen replied, turning to face him. "The Kraxan Empire needs to survive, to serve as a message to the galaxy. Humanity isn't just another species to be conquered. We're something else entirely." The station's quantum cores hummed softly as they processed data from the battle. Every engagement, every failed Kraxan strategy, was being analyzed and added to humanity's already vast understanding of quantum warfare. "You hide behind masks of weakness," Vexthor said, his tone somewhere between accusation and admiration. "Your primitive ships, your outdated technology, all deliberate deceptions. We learned from Earth's history," Chen explained, gesturing to a holographic display of human technological development. "The greatest victories often come not from overwhelming force, but from being underestimated. We played to your expectations, Supreme Commander. You saw exactly what you wanted to see." Around Earth, cleanup operations were already underway. Quantum engineering crews were stabilizing the shattered remains of Kraxan vessels, preventing their collapsed quantum cores from causing further damage to spacetime. "Your empire," Chen continued, "was built on technological superiority. You never considered that someone might find a way to turn that superiority against you. While you conquered worlds with brute force, we studied the fundamental nature of reality itself." The holographic displays shifted to show the full extent of humanity's quantum defense network, a vast web of entangled particles stretching throughout the solar system. What had appeared to be debris, failed satellites, and abandoned mining operations were revealed as nodes in an impossibly complex quantum computer. "Consider this," Chen said, addressing not just Vexthor, but the gathered human crew. "We didn't win this battle today. We won it decades ago, when we chose to appear weak while growing strong, when we decided that understanding our enemy was more important than intimidating them." Vexthor's crystalline form shifted slightly. "The other species we conquered, they will learn of this." "They already have," Chen smiled. "Our quantum communication network extends far beyond our solar system. Every moment of this battle was transmitted in real time to every world under Kraxan control. Your empire's myth of invincibility didn't just crack, it shattered as thoroughly as your quantum cores." Through the station's windows, Earth shone peacefully, its quantum defense grid now visible as a subtle shimmer in spacetime. Humanity had revealed itself as not just another technological civilization, but as pioneers of an entirely new form of warfare, one that turned the very fabric of reality into both weapon and shield. "What happens now?" Vexthor asked, his translator conveying genuine uncertainty. "Now," Chen replied, "we help rebuild. Your empire's technology is impressive, but flawed. Together, we can create something better. Humanity doesn't seek conquest, Supreme Commander. We seek understanding. And today, we understand each other better than ever." As the cleanup continued, messages began arriving from across the galaxy. Other species, long subjugated by the Kraxan Empire, were reaching out to Earth, not for protection or revenge, but for knowledge. Humanity's victory had done more than defeat an enemy. It had demonstrated a new path forward. The age of quantum warfare had begun. But perhaps, Chen thought as she watched the combined human and Kraxan crews working together to stabilize the battlefield, it could also be the beginning of something else. A new era where understanding the universe mattered more than conquering it. In the end, humanity's greatest weapon hadn't been their quantum technology or their strategic deception. It had been their ability to imagine a future beyond the endless cycle of conquest and submission, and their willingness to work in secret for decades to make that future possible. The stars beckoned, and humanity was ready to answer their call not as conquerors or victims, but as pioneers of a new way of thinking about reality itself.